Yes.
I like being able to talk. I like to be able to.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Let me get out of here.
Yes, sir.
See, I
Thank
think
you,
every
Mr.
once
Brown.
in a while we should
Because I have to keep track of it.
different names on different people and really confuse everybody.
I love that. Yes.
How are
Say your
you?
first name.
You never know.
I'll get the last name.
Wild time.
Say it to me.
Very nice.
That was our volunteer appreciation gift this year. So.
I like that.
Haven't been to Italy.
Honor.
Oh, really? Here he comes. I was worried about you.
Forever, it took 15 minutes to get a coffee.
I know. I skipped mine for that very reason.
That's the reason I'm losing weight,
I was like, what is going on?
get the weight off the joints,
And I have the easiest coffee order.
but still the fatigue and everything.
Good morning. I didn't mean to ignore you. Look at her doing Pokemon. You go, girl.
I've been playing since it started,
You know, my sister does it. I mean, my daughter does a group for Crystal River.
Yes. Actually, I might be in that group. I'm not sure.
Morning.
We're ready. It's 9,
Are
right?
you a Pokemon guy?
My son, well, I mean, we grew up in that era, but my son is into it. I got him into it. And, I mean, I wasn't like fully like, crazy about it.
Yeah. I should have brought my sweater.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Oh, I love this.
We're going to go ahead and get started in just a moment. It is 9 o'clock. All right. So I'll go ahead and I'll call this meeting to order. First order of business for us is the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you could all stand and join me and face the flag. All right, thank you. And then next up, we have our roll call. So Bob Bramlett.
Here.
Chris Campbell.
Here.
Lenore Nelson.
Here.
James Parada.
Here.
Edith Ramlow.
Here.
Justin Strickland.
Here.
Lorraine Benefield.
Here.
Katie Myers.
Here.
And Terry Morrison.
Here.
All right, thank you. Okay. So our next order of business on our agenda is for the nomination of chair and vice chair. And there's a little bit of discussion between this meeting and the last meeting about kind of this process. So just kind of out in abundance of caution, we're going to redo this from what we did last time. And I just kind of want to go over a little bit of kind of the process that I'm going to follow today. So in a moment, I'm going to open it up for nominations for chair. We're going to take them one at a time. We'll do chair. And then once the chair is selected, they will lead the nomination process for a vice chair. But I'm going to open it up for nominations in a moment. Anybody who wishes to make a nomination on the board may do so. Once everyone has had a chance, if they'd like to make a nomination, so if you've done that, I will close nominations. If there is one nomination, we'll go through the process and I'll ask for a motion to go through that process. If there's multiple nominations, then we'll go through a ballot vote. So you'll all be given a ballot. You'll write your name on that ballot. You'll also write the person that you wish to be chair. I will collect all of those ballots, and then I will read them all aloud and enter them all into the record. Whomever has the most votes at that time will become the chair. So depending on which process we go, if we only have one nomination, then of course we'll go through that process. But if we have multiple, like I said, we'll go through the ballot process there. Okay? All right. So at this time, I'd like to go ahead and open it up for nominations. Is there anybody who'd like to make a nomination for chair?
I'd like to nominate myself for chair, please.
I'd like to nominate Justin.
Okay, are there any other
I
nominations?
would like to nominate Robert.
All right, any other nominations for chair? No? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and close nominations then. And at this time, we'll go ahead and we'll move into the vote process. So we'll hand out ballots for you all.
Adam, I appreciate the nomination, but I cannot be here for several of the meetings throughout the year. So I just want to let everybody know that I will be here for 4 meetings, not 6.
Okay, but you'd still like to be considered for chair?
If I can withdraw my nomination, I would well, I can't withdraw the nomination, but I just want to make sure everybody knows that.
I withdraw my nomination then.
Okay, so we have two nominations in at this point. It's James Parada or Justin Strickland for chair. So if you all will take a moment and fill out your ballots for us, and then we'll collect them and I'll read them all into the record.
Thank you, ma'am. Oh, that's a good thing.
Thank you, Taylor.
Make sure you put your name at the top and the today's date.
Sorry. Thank you, Taylor. Okay, so I have all 9 of the ballots, and I'll go ahead and read these into the record. So first we have, I apologize, I've got to keep a tally of all this as well. All right, we have 1 vote for Justin, and that was by Bob Bramlett. We have 1 vote for James from Edith Ramlow. We have another vote for James from James. Another vote for James from Riss Campbell. Lenora, a vote for James. Justin voted for Justin. All right. Another vote for Justin from Katie Myers. A vote for Justin from Lorraine Benefield. And another vote for Justin from Terry Morrison. All right. So with that process concluded, I have 5 votes for Justin Strickland and 4 votes for James. So under those kind of rules in those voting, majority was for Justin, so Justin would become your new chair. All right. And I will hand the meeting over to Justin. Thank you.
I'll stay right here. All right. Good morning. Now we have to go through the voting process of vice chair. So I will open up the nominations for vice chair. Any nominations for vice chair? Yes.
I'd like to nominate myself.
All right. 1 nomination for Mr. Parada. All right.
I'd like to nominate Edith.
1 nomination for Edith. All right. Anyone else? All right. Seeing there's no other nominations, I will close the nominations.
May I
Yes.
decline my nomination for vice chair?
Based on that comment, I hereby withdraw the nomination for Edith.
Okay.
Thank you, Rob.
All right. So since we only have 1 nomination on the table, and that is for Mr. Parada, all that we have to do is affirm it by a 2/3 vote. So do I have a second to close nominations?
Second.
All right. Seeing we have a second, all in favor of closing nominations?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, nominations are closed. Now we have to take a vote on the vice chair. All in favor of Mr. Parada as vice chair? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Seeing none opposed, Mr. Parada is vice chair. All right. Just for a point of order, Mr. Chang, do we need to move Mr. Parada over to my left?
Yes, we would, yes.
Okay.
That's right. Just take your time.
All right. Now we're going to move into the rest of the agenda. We have item B1, which is the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. Everyone should have received a copy of the previous minutes in your, by email, unless you requested otherwise. I assume everyone had time to review the minutes? Would anyone like to make an adjustment to the minutes, or maybe clarify something that you think was not clarified? Everybody good? All right. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes of February the 24th, 2026 meeting as presented?
So moved.
All right. Mr. Campbell, I'll give you the motion.
Seconded.
All right. Second by Mrs. Ramlow. All right. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. All right. Approval of the minutes carries. All right. Next, we'll move into open to the public. And just a reminder, you have to fill out a green card. Every person of the public will have time to comment for 3 minutes, and there is a warning on there when it goes down to, I believe it goes down to 30 seconds. Is that correct, the warning?
1 minute.
1 minute. So you'll see the warning when it goes to 1 minute. Please then do your best to wrap up what you have to say. All public input must be directed at the chair and not directed at the crowd, not directed at the rest of the board members, and certainly not directed at library staff. Just direct all your comments to the chair, and we'll continue to move on through it, make sure that everybody has time to speak. And in addition, please, no outbursts from the crowd, no applause, none of that, okay? Just make sure that we remain very cordial and respectful of the person speaking and their time. And if you would like to come up and speak, you are welcome to speak. You just have to fill out a blue card or a green card and make sure that Taylor has that green card filled out. Okay, seeing that we are open, would anyone like to speak first? Who would like to speak?
Okay. Can I fill that out afterwards?
Yes, just state your name and where you're from.
Yes. Joe Papp. I've been here in Crystal River, Citrus County for 21 years, raised our family here. We love it here. First, John Labriola said he apologizes. He was called at the last minute to go up to Tallahassee. I promised I would say that. So my one thing that I'd like to address is this is a conservative county. And the only example I can use where disappointment from me and a lot of other folks was the Charlie Kirk thing. A display in the library for LGBT and then a turn down of Charlie Kirk, who is known worldwide. My basic comment is I'm hoping this board will side with the conservative side of the people that you represent. And I thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in a couple months.
Thank you, Mr. Papp. Anyone else?
Good morning, Board. My name is Ray Brown. I live here in Homosassa. And, Mr. Chair, at the last meeting, I think that you were way out of line. Now, understand, feelings, being upset, that is understandable. But the way you directed it at that meeting was over the top. Not only do I think that you owe myself, but the rest of the people that were here in the audience an apology for your rant. Understand, emotions run high, but I too, was offended by your outburst. Now, the other is that this Charlie Kirk. I'm nobody's puppet. Nobody tells me what I can say, what I can do. I'm up here because I have grandkids, great-grandkids, and all I want to see is for them to aspire to be the best they can. Unfortunately, there are, I feel that this library board and Citrus County libraries are introducing books that, I'm not going to say that we should eliminate them, but there really should be some type of way of, just like a PG-13 movie. Can't go see it if you're, under 13. Same way that some of these books, too many to list, we've all gone over them before, but you're here to protect our kids. You're here to protect our grandkids. You are here to make sure that what they read is acceptable to, we're afraid that, it's going to end up being pornography. It's going to end up in our library. I do think that this Charlie Kirk and this, I'm not going to call it a memorial, but on his birthday, something should stop. You should stop dragging your feet and say, if the county doesn't move on this, then you insist that the county tell you and give you what you need to make this possible. I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you for allowing me to address the board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next speaker.
Good morning. My name's Lala Sanders from Inverness, Florida, and I just want to express the fact that the Board of County Commissioners nominated all of you, and to not ever be afraid to speak up. And I thank the person that brought up that we had to have another re-election in the proper way. And each and every one of you have a voice, and don't ever be afraid to speak your voice. So, don't be a follower, be an individual, and whatever you decide, don't walk out of here saying, I should have said that, I should have done that. Leave here with a clear conscience. The only thing that I have to say about the library is that, they do a wonderful job, but my whole issue is I wish that the ages would change, and I know that parents have a right to let their parents do, they have the right to raise their children the way that they want to, but it's not the right way, because it all leads to pedophilia, satisfaction of an adult, of a young child. So I think that you really need to look at the ages on what's in the library. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Dean Bales. I come from Homosassa Springs. There's a proposal to have a neutral policy, but neutrality is a very difficult balancing act. It's a high wire that's been greased, and you're going to fall one way or the other in most cases. There's not a lot of liberals out there. There used to be. A liberal is like a Thomas Jefferson, a broad-minded type of person you could reason with. They weighed out all sides before they did something, and being biased isn't the easiest thing in the world, and a lot of people don't know how biased they are. Like, okay, Columbus sailed to the west thinking he was going to come to India. He found people. They called them Indians. Well, we know they're not Indians. That's an outdated, language. So we need to change it to something. And there's outdated language all around us, and people are purposefully trying to tip the playing field very, very deliberately. And even after you point it out to them and they get irate, it kind of shows that they know what they're doing and it's intentional. Here's an example of how you don't be even-handed. This is the Chronicle, and it kind of ties into the Charlie Kirk situation. Rush Limbaugh died. Here's a newsman, and they printed some nasty things about Rush Limbaugh. And hardly anything good did I see. And then Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a left-winger from the Supreme Court, died about that same time. Nothing bad was allowed to be said of her. And of course, we conservatives are just not as nasty a bunch as to go doing things like that, as to dance on somebody's grave. Well, then you had the guy who selected the newspaper's letters to the editor, and he had a heavy thumb on the scale to make sure that, that the left was more than given their time to speak. And the guy's name was Brian Lapeter. And I didn't say anything nasty about him. I just pointed out the way he put his thumb on the scales to tip the playing field under the guise of being neutral, because he tried to justify himself sometimes, and it was obvious he was wrong. And I got a nasty letter from Jim Gavelis saying, shame on me, and what possessed you to write something about a dead man that, I personally didn't know him. He claimed that. I don't know how that's possible, but this is beyond the pale. He threatened to cancel my subscription and reimburse me, and and I knew it would happen again. I didn't delete that email because I knew it was going to happen again. Sure enough, Charlie Kirk gets killed, and they danced on his grave, and he's the same guy working for the same newspaper, and he didn't have any objection to that. And, there's an example of how you don't be neutral. And if this neutrality policy is ever enacted, keep in mind they've tipped the playing field in favor of LGBTs for so long, and if we want to have something that gives equal representation to our people who believe in decency and common sense, we shouldn't be told that we can't do that to 1-0.
Thank you, Mr.
Stop.
Bales. Your time has expired.
Thank you.
All right. Next speaker.
Good morning. My name is Janet Genova. I'm from Hernando. I just want to say thank you to the board. I think you're doing a wonderful job. I know you're all volunteers. And I thought that Charlie Kirk display has been put to rest some time ago, but I could be wrong. I really wanted to speak on, I attended the volunteer gathering for the library this past Saturday? And there were in excess of 150 persons there, all volunteers. And those were the ones that could show up that day. That is not all of those volunteers. Wow. These are people that see the library on a consistent basis. They see the patrons, they see the staff, and they give of their time for this institution. It's a wonderful place to be. They do a great job. The staff is wonderful. They treat everyone with respect. And I am just so happy to live in this county with the library as it stands right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person.
Good morning, Board.
Morning.
I would echo the comments of the previous speaker to thank you all for your service to our community and your patience through.
Please state your name and where you're from.
Happens every time. I'm sorry, Robin Orlandi, Dunellen, the citrus side of Dunellen. Again, to thank you for your time and your service to our community. I just wanted to say, too, that I thought that the Charlie Kirk issue had been settled in terms of putting book plates in books, and that we had moved on from that. I think when we talk about balance in a community, we're just talking about representation of all people who live here, and that in spite of some of the comments about decency and common sense, that we know from experience and from meeting people other than ourselves are not values that are just constrained to conservative Christians, humanists, all decent people come in many different varieties. And that's something that we should acknowledge, and I believe that that's part of the library's mission statement. And as a previous speaker said, of course, speak your own mind. You know, don't be afraid to represent your values, but please keep in mind that the mission of the library is to serve everyone in the community, and that this county, regardless of what the polls say, is actually quite diverse from my experience in meeting people. It's just that some folks are quiet because they're afraid. And your job, our job as library, I'm a retired librarian, our job in libraries is to welcome those who are afraid, just like our churches do, and to make them feel that there's a community where they can find answers to their needs, their questions, and their children's needs and questions. And again, in terms of protecting the children, we have a new children's library card that parents can use to make sure that they have access to the appropriate collection only if that's what the parent decides they want for their child. I would like to say that Booked was amazing. Thank you for an event that was wonderfully enjoyable, and also the return of interlibrary loan, where we can get loans from libraries outside of this county, and academic books. I have an intense interest in art history, and those are very expensive books I wouldn't expect our libraries to have, but because we can go to libraries in larger places and get those books, that service is amazing. In closing, I would just like to say I look forward to moving forward with hearing about the plans for the upcoming budget, and also hearing about the results of the recent survey of community opinions, so we can get an accurate reflection of how we all feel.
Ms. Orlandi, your time has expired. Next speaker.
And my name is Ray Kolofsky. I live in Inverness, the county. Charlie Kirk deal is not going to be done until you people bring your recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners. Nobody had the guts to do that. Bring it to them. Make it fair. I don't have anything against these other people, what they want to do, but put a little section in there for Turning Point USA. They believe in God, family, and country. The other people that write books, anybody could write books. You got these people that killed Charlie Kirk, 3 times tried to assassinate President Trump, trans people going into children's schools, shooting up children. I mean, these people write books too. And those books go into the library. So be very careful. Be bold. Don't be afraid of these far-left lunatics. I mean, speak your mind. Don't sit in a cave like a bunch of mushrooms without seeing the light. And, Mr. Strickland, you don't deserve to be in a chairman position at all. For what you did the last time, attacking John Labriola, who wasn't here to defend himself, that alone should disqualify you from sitting in that chair. You don't do that. You give people a chance. And I'd like you guys to keep that Turning Point USA alive. They believe in God, family, and country. And that's what he was killed for. That's what President Trump is being targeted for. These people, 65% of the Liberal Party do not believe in God. The poll came out. So take it from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kolofsky. Anyone else?
I feel kind of like the mama bear here, because I'm not up here to talk about me, but I'm protecting my family, and I want you to know that my husband was the editor-in-chief of the Chronicle for over 10 years. And when you talk about the ethics and what the process is for editorials going into the Chronicle,
I'm sorry, I know who you are,
I'm
but
sorry, you're right. Neil Brennan. I live in Hernando. When when you talk about that process, and believe me, there are plenty of things that you can talk about the Chronicle as far as things that you might want to see improved. But that editorial process, man, they watch over that, okay? And I've seen it, and you haven't. And if you have problems with it, you need to go in there and watch it, okay? I served on the editorial board for 25 years. I watched that process, okay? It's very difficult, but there was never a heavy thumb on anything. They did everything they could to give everybody a chance. We had a process just to get community people to serve on the editorial board. We had people that sat on that process to determine if there was a reason for an editorial not to go in. And the only reason that an editorial wouldn't go in is if it was terribly offensive, or if it was, we thought that legally it would cause a problem, but they let things in. I also want you to know that I know Jim Gavelis, not from his time here, but from his time that he served down in the papers down south, okay? And my husband did too. We know Jim as a person who loves community journalism. Now, he's a little rough around the edges, but he's a good man. He's a fair man, and he's not heavy-handed with what he chooses to go into the editorial page of the Chronicle. So be careful when you listen to people that accuse things that go in and out of the Chronicle, and go in there and ask, well, what am I talking about? Do I know that process? Go and watch it. They'll let you watch that process, okay? And it's fair, and they do everything they can to have all sides represented. You may not like some of them, but that's our community. So please, I beg of you, don't pick on my husband. He's a good guy too. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Anyone else? Seeing there are no other speakers, I'm going to close open to public. All right. Now for board discussion on any of the public input. Real quick, Mr. Brown, you did mention limiting the age, as well as Mrs. Saunders, you did too. I think, however, your thing was different than what Mr. Brown was saying. Mr. Brown was speaking specifically about limiting what they can access. That's why we did do a restricted access card, which is, I understand that there may be holes in that. I get that. However, that significantly restricted what children could check out and so on. So if they have that card, they're limited to the children's section. They cannot even get from young adults or adult section, only the children's section. So we do have a system in place for it. One could argue that there are holes in certain places, whatever, but as a whole, that card is kind of doing exactly what you requested. Mrs. Saunders, I think your issue with the ages was, and I apologize if I'm reading into it, but I think it's more to do with the young adult section as far as the age on that. And we did move that from 12 to 18 to 15 to 18. Personally, I feel like it should be older than that, but the board disagreed, and library staff did move that age. So, I mean, we do have to give them some credit towards that. They did do that. They heard our request and they moved it. They're doing their best to try to hear the people and make adjustments as they can. We can all argue as to whether it's enough or not, and I understand that. Mr. Brown and Mr. Kolofsky, you both addressed my addressing of Mr. Labriola, and so I'm a little bit upset that he wasn't here today because he's made such a contention over the fact that I addressed him in a meeting where he wasn't present. However, the facts of the matter are he did speak to one of my parishioners specifically about me. He's on the record with the Chronicle stating that he did so to speak about me, and he could not recall as to whether he used the word liberal or not. He's on the record with the Chronicle doing that. My parishioner told me, and I only have his words to back up, that he did call me a liberal pastor and that we have a liberal church, and which is further from the truth. And I know that people may not like that. They may not like the fact that, that I use that time. But the truth is Mr. Labriola has influenced this board. He probably has delivered more information from as a public individual, a private citizen than any other person. I mean, you all have been faithful being here and so on. And I appreciate your attendance and even your comments. Whether I agree or not is one thing. However, he has, and he often calls every one of us. He hasn't called me nor responded to my emails. However, he has done that. And so the point is, when you have a person who could be potentially that influential, this is the most appropriate meeting to talk about a person who lacks the ethos to have that sort of credibility in this board. And he also had another conversation with one of my parishioners since then. However, this parishioner actually addressed him, in which he said that our church worships fake gods. So, and if he wants to argue that point, I have a voicemail to prove it. So the reality is that Mr. Labriola is a big name in the public input portion, has been. He's been a voice that's here, and I've listened to his voice. Mr. Kolofsky, you said give him a chance. I met with him multiple times, listening to his concerns, and then going to the library staff and speaking to them. And on the majority of the occasions, they have done inside their own workings. They have made adjustments and addressed concerns, and all of that happened with meeting with him. I've given that man a chance. He has chose to attack my credibility, not only my credibility, but the church, for which not only I serve and serve the people, but also am employed by. So, I do not apologize for addressing Mr. Labriola. In fact, one might argue that it's more cowardly to go lurk in the shadows behind your back and address people that you have a connection with and a relationship with on a regular basis, and do so, in fact, to try to tear down their name. Whereas one person, myself, did so on camera, and where it is also minutes are given, and there's no question as to what I said. So, I mean, we can argue back and forth as to which one's better or not. I have my opinion on that. And so that's as far as I'll go with Mr. Labriola. The truth is I am who I am. I am nobody's puppet. As you know, I am a Christian conservative. I am that before I am anything else. And then I am an American. But I'm also a citizen of this county, and I want to do my best to be a fair individual, if that makes sense. I want to make sure that I'm a fair individual while doing and protecting the values and the core values of what I believe in. However, I will not stoop to prevaricating, such as Mr. Labriola. So, you can criticize me for whatever, and I understand, and I receive that criticism. I hear you. But I have my reasons for why I did it. He was wrong in going to my church member. I'll stand by that forever. And I appreciate all of your voices. As to, there was a statement over the fact of we should speak our mind, Mrs. Sanders. I think I've done that well. The one thing that was mentioned over speaking up during the meetings and so on, and it was specifically mentioned over the nomination of the chair and so on. I will say this, and I'm not criticizing Mr. Campbell. I understand that he felt like he needed to do that, and I respect Mr. Campbell. I respect the opinions that he brings here. Most of the time, I agree with him. However, what I will say is that in every meeting, we do have an opportunity before we adjourn the meeting to speak about anything that we may have had concerns with. And Robert's Rules of Order does say that all points of orders over discrepancies of parliamentary procedure must be performed during that meeting at the time of action. So we actually violated Robert's Rule of Order today in doing what we did. I'm okay with it because I understand the greater good of it. But however, what I'm saying is we must address those things inside of a meeting, because if we were to disagree with anything that happens in here, and then we were to say, to go to the county commission and say, hey, I disagreed with this, I didn't like this, but yet we had time before the meeting. And I understand maybe you had time to think about it after the fact. I get all of that. I don't believe there's any malfeasance in it. However, that's the point of that discussion at the end of the meeting, is that we go ahead and we say, hey, before we close, before we adjourn, let's make sure that all business is settled or tabled to the next meeting. Okay? And that being said, that's all I have. Anybody else have any comments you'd like to say? Yes, sir.
I would just like to address all those who are talking about wanting a Charlie Kirk display. If you will, there's a form, an official form that the library has that you can fill out that asks to have certain displays. If you fill that out, the library folks will look at that. They have a monthly meeting to where they address those issues. That's really where that takes place. It really doesn't take place here on the board. We've hired some wonderful people, and I spent a whole morning with them this last month, and let me tell you, we have a great group of people in our library system. I'm just so proud to now be part of that and being able to sit here on the board, because I've seen them in action. I see what they do. I see everything that they offer us as a community, and I'm just overwhelmed with pride for what they do in our community. So if there is a display you'd like to have, or if there are books that you would like to have added, or books that you don't like being there, there is a form for you to use. They address that inside. That is their job. Once they do that and get an answer back to you, if you are then unhappy with their answer, that's when you bring it to this board. So I just wanted to do a little education this morning. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Can
Mr. Campbell?
Can I clarify something, Chair,
Yes.
about that form? There isn't an actual form where you make recommendations about book displays. There is forms and there are processes for requesting materials, or if you have objections to materials or displays, things like that. So it's not really an input for displays necessarily, but there are for materials like you mentioned. And then it also is the reverse of that. If there's a display or materials that you do not like, there is a request for consideration form that you can fill out for that.
Okay, I stand corrected. Is there not a way that we can add displays to that form?
That we're in review of that policy at the moment. It's currently with my boss Eric Head. He's reviewing that now. But as it stands now, there isn't. And part of the reason is we give that to staff to make those decisions on what displays they would like to have. A lot of those displays to take a lot of the challenges that we have with displays is this going to please this group? Is it going to please this one? So I tried to just come up with a set of displays, and you all have those 4 or 5 displays that I want every month. We've really limited the number of displays that we have in a library, and they're pretty much set outside of the ones that we give staff the opportunity to create. They create 2 or 3 a month. It's something they really enjoy doing, and it gives them kind of a creative freedom that I wouldn't like to. I've already shifted a lot of those displays by making permanent displays, but I still want to give staff the opportunity to create something and something they really enjoy.
So if a member of the community would like something, though, how would they address that?
They can request it if they like. They can send us a message. They can talk to staff about it, but there isn't a specific.
It's not a form, but they can still mention it.
They can absolutely, yes, yep.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mr. Campbell.
So thank you, everybody, for your public comments. I do want to clarify for just everybody's understanding of the events that happened last year. We had our August meeting. We were discussing the budget. I believe that's also where we were putting in for book page to be removed. It was, I think it was the beginning of September is where the county commission did say to strike that from the budget. Soon after that, because we had our August meeting, September 10th, where Charlie Kirk was assassinated, and then we have our next meeting in October. So in that essence, because the book page was canceled, and we were wanting to make sure, or one of the John Labriola called me and said, "Hey, I want to make sure where's the funds going, from book page. It was $3,000, I believe. And that was where I came up with the idea for having a Charlie Kirk display and taking the funds for that. So we had that next meeting. Of course, it was heated. And it was determined that the funds were already reallocated somewhere else. So that's the point I want to make sure that everybody understands from that. The funds were reallocated. So what I had suggested to use to purchase, to build the display, everything else, that there was no funds there. So that is what I believe we voted on, was because the funds were already reallocated. That's why we did not move forward with the Charlie Kirk display. Correct. So with that, I still think, even if the staff has the, I guess you can say, the creative abilities and the decision making, I would say if that's going to be a balanced decision, with what's going on in the community, I would just suggest and say, hey, I think this would be a great idea, since it does not need to come to us yet for that decision. So if there is a way that we could be able to have community input on what displays they would like to see, say for instance, if there is a community member, maybe something for sports or something else, we could recognize our local high schools, anything like that. I say let's have a forum where we can have input and suggestion, and then that can go to the library staff, and it can, in good faith, be given. That way anybody can be represented, and that's, I think, the point that I would like to say is I want to be able to see if somebody on the left is represented, I want to see somebody on the right represented. If I see somebody upside, downside, whatever, everyone is equally represented in this community. Everybody has the ability to freely read, and I feel like with that policy that's coming forward, everybody should be able to be represented equally. Now, does that mean that we need to be putting stuff in our libraries in the kids section that's going to hypersexualize them? No, I don't agree with that. I don't want to see it. But I do think that we can, since it's our 250th, anniversary of this nation, I'm sure you guys are going to be doing something in July and leading up to that for our communities, for our kids to know, who was Paul Revere, who was George Washington, who was Abraham Lincoln, Yes, put stuff up about the Civil War. Let people read about that. Let people read about the Industrial Revolution, in our country, World War II, a whole lot of stuff there for history, for kids. And there's even for folks like myself who might not, might see a book that I haven't seen before. So that's what I'd like to see, equal representation for everybody. And I wanted to clear that record up about the whole Charlie Kirk display. It was not that we don't want to see a Charlie Kirk display. It was the funding that I was trying to ask to have reallocated from Book Page was already reallocated. And it was my idea.
I'd like to support what Rich just said by reading a couple of things that I've read a number of times where he talked about everybody should be represented. If you go on my book, page 39 of 48, where it talks about the collection development.
Which
and
section?
The collection development, you got,
Is it section 2?
I don't know.
Section 1.
Only section 1.
Yeah, we need tabs.
Okay, I'm sorry, this is, anyway. It says, the library recognizes that some items may be considered controversial and that any given item may offend patrons. Selections are not made on the basis of any anticipated approval or disapproval, but solely on the merit of the work in building a balanced collection and serving the interests and needs of the library patrons. Materials dealing with controversial views, language, or images are judged as entire works, not on isolated passages or sections. Parents and legal guardians have the right and the responsibility to guide and direct the reading, listening, viewing choices of their own minor children and only their children. Parents or guardians who wish to limit or restrict the use of library materials by their own children should personally oversee their selections. So what Rich just said about making sure that we have views for everybody in our community, whether they're vocal or not vocal, that is consistent with this particular section, and I agree with what he said with respect to that issue. Thank you, Russ.
Thank you, Mr. Rob.
Anyone else?
I just want to thank you for the nomination for vice chair and just let everyone know that I do plan on retiring this year. And so I didn't feel like I could be, in a position of leadership and take off in the middle of it. So thank you again.
And Mrs. Ramlow, thank you for serving as vice chair. Thank you so much. You are a very instrumental on this board. You have a wealth of knowledge, specifically with regards to library policy and how libraries conduct business. And I want you to know that I have appreciated you. Thank you.
Thank you, Justin.
Absolutely.
Second that.
Yeah.
Point of order real quick. Can we make sure, I do not believe I have that same passage. Can we just make sure that our binders, if we can, to get those updated, if there's anything that's missing, we can talk after the meeting.
Yes, I think you may not have a printed copy of all the policies. I believe that's what Bob has, but I can go ahead and I can get those for you. I'll email them out after this meeting. They are available, so I can get those all to you, and then at the next meeting we can get you printed copies if you'd like. Or if you want to stop by one of the libraries in between, we can get you printed copies.
Yeah,
'Cause they are.
I just want to make sure I have
lengthy.
reference. That way I can go back to what everybody else is reading.
Absolutely.
Yep,
Yes.
Thank you.
And to that point, I think for some of us who have been on this board for a little bit too, our binders are a little out of date. So I know that mine is about to fall apart. But anyways, if we could that's a great point. That at least we're all on the same page. No pun intended. Anyways, all right. Anyone else?
I would like to return to Mr. Parada's opening comments about the fact that there is a procedure and people who have an issue or a concern, and that would be all of the wonderful people who show up with their public comments or anybody else, a citizen here, is welcomed by this amazing staff. And there are open ears and open minds when they come into the staff and ask for a clarification or a concern. And I actually would go back to our previous meeting because Mrs. Nelson, I believe, also brought that up at the previous meeting, that there are steps to follow. And if those steps are followed, many of the issues can be explained by the people who work at the library, because they're wonderful folks with knowledge and representative of that community. And I would stress again that if you're thinking of a topic or a book, or they've probably also been working on that as well. And I think if we would follow that procedure, I think that people would be both knowledgeable, and with knowledge would come, as we say here on this podium, collaboration and leading to better decisions on everyone's part.
Thank you, Mrs. Morstan. Anyone else? All right. That being said, we'll move on. Item D, special items. We don't have anything there, so we'll move on to item E, report of officers of standing work groups. E1 is the booked 2026 review. So I'll turn that over to you, Mr. Director.
I'd like to thank everybody for supporting, for coming to the event. It was a wonderful event. We were a couple $1,000s short this year in comparison to last year. We made almost $20,000, but I want to thank the community for coming and supporting it. It's a wonderful event. Adam will tell you about the date for next year. I don't have my 2027 calendar yet, but maybe if you could put it at the end of December so that you've got it on your calendar. There were a couple of things that came up at the last meeting. I think the high school had a basketball game, and then there was something also with the sheriff's department that kept a few people away. But theme that I would like to weave into Booked is bring a friend. So if you came this year, bring another friend who didn't come. Thank you. Adam?
Okay, thank you, Bob. And I would just like to echo what Bob said. Huge thank you to all the staff and volunteers and the committee that helped put that event together. It's a tremendous amount of work, but a lot of work that we're happy to do because we see the wonderful support that we have in the community for the libraries. The event to me was very successful. Bob did mention we didn't quite hit our fundraising goal, but we did still raise a considerable amount of funding. But it's bringing hundreds of people to the library to kind of show their support for the growth and the future of Citrus Libraries. So I'm very, very happy to see that, and I'm so thankful that we have the event kind of back again. A little bit more about Booked. So this last theme was Tides and Tales. So we held this at the Coastal Region Library.
Adam, if you could stop
Sure.
there for a second, and when you're going through that, if you would acknowledge our corporate sponsors who played a critical role in this particular event.
Absolutely. So yes, so we did host this event in Crystal River. We had 18 sponsors, and I do want to thank all of our sponsors. We've had our presenting sponsors come back again this year, but we actually had Stone Coast Credit Union, we had Rowan Septic, they were a sponsor last year and this year as well. And then, of course, we added this year all of the Friends of the Library groups kind of banded together and did one big sponsorship there. The Friends of the Library have always supported our fundraising efforts. They usually would do it individually, but we have them now kind of all together in one big kind of headline. So yes, we had 18 sponsors, very, very, thankful that they were willing to contribute and kind of see the vision that we're going for to build on our library services. We had, 187 tickets sold up leading to the event. You'll see if you want to go back, a couple pictures there from the event. So we had a lot of fun there. You can see there's Joanne there. She did our golf putting challenge, which I'll tell you a little bit more about in a moment. But we had 18 sponsors, and we sold 187 tickets. One of the nice things about our ticket sales was we actually ventured into online sales this year. So we tried that for the first time. That seemed to go very well, and we're looking to see how we can build upon that as well to give people more opportunities to buy tickets and come to our event. So the more avenues we can get that out there, the better for us. We had quite a few activities. We had a silent auction. We had a wine toss, 50-50, gift card raffle. We had Friends gift baskets. So not only do the Friends sponsor the event, but they also provide gift baskets for us to be able to raffle away as well. Then we also had our golf putting challenge, which was new. This is a really fun event and a way for people to do something a little more interactive and like I said, something new. So they got to hit basically a putt. They got 3 chances to putt into a hole. If they did succeed with one of those putts, they got entered to win a golf package at one of our local golf courses that was donated as well. And then as far as the revenue side of things, so the event overall brought in just over $29,000, and we had expenses of just under $10,000, so $9,912.60 expenses. So our total net and our total raise, which goes directly back into the U.S. Sammy Foundation Fund for more capital improvements, was just over $19,000. So that was $19,346.14. So a very successful event in terms of dollars raised for us. And I would say this going into our 3rd year, I think things are getting easier. They're more routine now as far as what we need to do. And I would say beyond just the dollar amount that we raised, the other part of this is just a lot of fun, building a lot of community support and just getting a lot of positive kind of energy in the room about libraries and seeing just how many different people from all different places that support our libraries and just having a fun event in the library. I know a number of you attended the event. I know some of you couldn't make it as well. I appreciate those that could. And like I said, I know sometimes we can't make everything. We got a lot of things going on, but I hope you all that attended the event had a good time with that. But we're looking forward to our 2027 Booked as well. So thank you.
Do we have a date for that?
We do. It will be, is it 20th? Yep. So we do have a slide for it at the end, but I'll go ahead and tell you it is February 20th, 2027. So February 20th, 2027.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, anyone else discussion over Booked?
It was nice to see a lot of younger faces there this year. There were a lot more younger families that brought their teenagers or 20 tweens upper, and that was really nice to see.
I would like to say, Bob, thank you for leading this, chairing this committee. Thank you. This is your second time, and you've done it willingly, and I appreciate it because it takes a lot of time. And I know that library staff has done a tremendous amount of work on that as well, and I think you probably don't get much credit for it. It's often expected, but fundraising is probably something you didn't see in your work description whenever you applied. But thank you so much for helping with that as well. You all as a team have done a tremendous job. It is interesting as far as how Sunshine Law works, is that multiple members of the board are not able to work on that committee. That's just the way it works. So it takes one person of the board to kind of head that up. So thank you. And I know Mrs. Debbie, who is retired, was a part of that too. And I'd like to say thank you for your time as well on there.
She's not retired completely from that.
Well,
coming back next year. And I did some work. The lion's share of the work was done by our library staff. And they went above and beyond the call of duty. And also each of the people who helped from the Friends of the Library, who helped with respect to the various committees. Terry did an awful lot, and Paula, and just, there are a lot of other people who did a super amount of work. I did a limited amount.
Sorry.
All right, thank you. Anyone else before we move on? All right, we're going to move on to regular business, which is beginning with F1, Director's Report. Mr. Chang.
Great. Thank you, Chair. Okay, so for the Director's Report today, first thing I want to talk a little bit about is a project that we have finished up a little bit ago, and it was our Chronicle digitization project. So some of you may know that we do have at 2 of our libraries, we have a microfilm reader. So we have one at Homosassa Library, and we also have one at the Lakes Region Library. And as part of having those readers, they're available for anybody in the public to use if you have film that you want to review or look at. Sometimes people have them, that they bring them in. A lot of times what it's used for over at Lakes Region Inverness was for the old Chronicle archive. So we have several decades worth of old Chronicle, all archived on film reels. So you can use this machine, and then they're able to kind of magnify it and look at individual days. They can print out whatever they're looking for historically. A lot of times it's used for genealogy research through like obituaries, things like that, or if they're looking for past historical events. So it's all stored on film in individual reels. And I was contacted and worked with the Chronicle a little bit about this through newspapers.com. They had been interested in having access to some of our records because they didn't have a complete Chronicle record, and they were looking to kind of expand what they had. They offered to take all of our film reels and then digitize them, do all the metadata and all of the back-end work on those for us. And in exchange, they would give us access to the Chronicle from 1939 all the way up to 2026, so it's current. We did not have a complete record. Ours stopped. We were missing some years, and then ours stopped in the early 2000s when we stopped receiving those film reels. So I took this as an opportunity as a way to preserve this information. So we always want to make sure that we're preserving local history however we can. The film reels are great in the library, but if something should happen to them, I didn't want that record lost. A little uneasy about being one of the only places. I know that the historical courthouse has some bindings as well, but I wanted to make sure that we were preserving it, and the best way I could think of that was to digitize all of it. It's incredibly expensive work and time-consuming work, so when newspapers.com offered to partner with us and then offered to give us or fill in any gaps they had for us too, it seemed like a very good opportunity for us to preserve that information and going forward. The other thing that it did for us as well is if you wanted to access the Chronicle film reels that we had, you'd have to go to Lakes Region Library and use it there in person. You have to go set up the machine and then find what you need there. It's a little cumbersome, and it's a one station. With this process, because we've now digitized it, we actually have access to every one of our libraries. So as long as you come into one of our libraries, you can use any one of our 60 or 70 public computers. You can log into that computer. You can go directly to a link we have on our website, and then you can access the entire archive there, so digitally. So it makes it a lot easier. It's way easier to search because now it's searchable. It's not that you have to get a reel out and then look make sure you got the right one and go back. You can quickly do it online. So there's a lot of benefit there, but it really opened up access and it preserved it. And we can track a lot of this data now too, which is a big thing that I enjoy doing, is just looking and seeing how people are using our resources. Is there demand for things? So we can see through this project now how many people are actually using or clipping articles out of this every day. And it's on average 5 to 7 people per day using it. Whereas before, if they had to come into the library, we wouldn't necessarily know if they were using it. Well, we'd see them using the machine, but we wouldn't really have an accurate way to track that. So it's been a very good project, one I'm very happy to have available now to everybody in Citrus County if they come into our libraries. But we also still have the film reels at Lakes Region should people want to use the film reels as well.
An idea with that. Summer reading programs coming up, doing a scavenger hunt, and then having the youth go and look up old newspaper reels, maybe for the older kids. Just an idea.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
So question, just for clarification, so now they have in possession the old film reels?
No, we have the reels. We received them back. So we shipped them all to them. They digitized all of them, and they shipped them back to us. So we still have the possession of them. They have the digital record of it now too, so it's on newspapers.com. Right. Should somebody want a subscription, out of state, they can subscribe to newspaper.com and have access to those records. But if you're in Citrus County and you're in a library, it's free to use the whole record.
Okay. And for my question on that, so that was a 1-for-1 with them, or was there any cost that came out of that?
So we paid shipping to ship the boxes, that was it. And so we shipped it to them, they shipped it back to us. So it was just the cost of shipping, and I think it was maybe like $70 to ship them.
That's awesome.
It was like I said, and it preserves it and it opens up access.
Yeah,
Is that free to use inside the library, or is it also digitized where we could get the subscription and use it from home?
So both ways. It's free to use inside the library. So if you're in our public library, you can use it there, no charge. You don't have to have an account or anything like that. You can just go directly to it and use it. But if you wanted to use it outside of the library, you would need a subscription to newspapers.com to access it.
Okay.
No, that was really good. I like that.
All right. Next, Mr.
So a couple more things. Community feedback. So I'm talking a lot about community feedback quite often because I just try to get as much data and as much information from everybody as we can to help us make decisions about where things are going. You've probably heard me talk about this before. We have library card anniversary emails that go out. So people get an email on their anniversary of the library card and just ask them, how are we doing? Is there anything you like, you don't like? Kind of give us some feedback. And we've gotten over 525 submissions to this to date. And I was trying to find a good way to kind of explain this or capture this, but you'll see up there it says 98% high ratings. So 90.1% of all of the responses we've received back rated us very good, which was at the highest level. And a lot of people leave nice feedback there as well, and I share those with staff, and I respond to some of them if they have questions or concerns. But 90% said very good, 7.8 said good. So we're considering that 98% of people said, very positive things about the library. 1.7 was neutral, and then only 2 or 3 were kind of bad results there. So overall, 98% of people that responded to us, which is over 525, found that they enjoy the services libraries provide. Then a couple more things. We have some more statistics through our mid-year report. So we track a lot of things in the library, and you'll see a couple of them here. The first one is our door count. So we track the number of people coming through the door every year. You'll see there's a huge spike from 24 to 25, and it's kind of leveling off in 2026 so far. Some of that is contributed to election years as well. We do see a spike in attendance of people coming through our door to vote, but it's consistently staying around that 150 level now we're looking at. So we're very happy to see that people are coming into our library using our services, and it tracks with the program attendance that we have as well. In addition to door count, we also have volunteer hours. So you'll hear a little bit more about volunteer appreciation in a little bit, but we have a tremendous support and a network of volunteers that come out and support our libraries for a variety of things. You'll see that number is continuously to just grow rapidly. At a certain point, we're going to kind of plateau there, I imagine, but we're not seeing any signs of that slowing down. There's just tons of people that want to come out and support the library, and we are incredibly thankful of that. Mm-hmm. So in the first 6 months of this year, we've seen 11,500 hours of volunteering. This past year, when we completed, we had about 18,000 hours of volunteer hours. So we're well on track to surpass that.
When I attended that Library of the Future planning meeting,
mm-hmm.
there were some folks from Purdue that were our consultants, and those people commented that throughout the entire nation, the amount of people who volunteer here is extraordinary. They never see anything like the volunteerism that the Citrus County citizens do, and it's really a credit to everybody in our county.
Yes, our consultants, Rethinking Libraries, did share that with us. It was not only the amount of hours that they see and the number of people, kind of per capita, percentage-wise, that volunteer, but it's also the depth of services that people are willing to volunteer and support us. You know, it's not just people, I mean, we love everybody doing everything for us, but it's not just shelving books. Some people do programming, they do outreach for us, they do our homebound program, adult literacy, bilingual story times. They support us with this wide range of services. So that was one of the things they highlighted as well, that they specifically mentioned that our volunteer base and the services they provide is at an elite level nationwide.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
All right, and then beyond our volunteer hours, we have our circulation. This one kind of goes down a little bit. It's pretty much staying flat, but we anticipate seeing around 600,000 materials circulate this year. We're always looking at ways to grow this, but it's going to stay around that 600,000 mark typically for the year, where we've seen that over the last 3 years, and we're kind of holding steady there. And then our physical and digital collection, we're slowly seeing digital continue to grow. So it makes up about 33% of all of our circulation now, digital. It's slowing down a little bit, I think. So we're going to see that number eventually kind of plateau as well, but it's about 33% of our our circulation total. And then room reservations. This one is a newer one that we started tracking. We were very interested in this one as we started to add those new rooms at Lakes Region and Coastal Region Library. So for a number of years, we only had our community rooms in 4 of our branches, and then we had study rooms at 2 of our locations. And every year since I've worked here, we've always gotten people asking for study spaces or more meeting spaces. We never really want to turn anybody down, so we would put them in different areas of the library, which created some noise issues. So we went ahead, and when we had the chance to do those renovations, we added some additional spaces. So you'll see in the next slide that how those have grown over the last 2 years. So in 2024, we didn't have those additional meeting spaces or study rooms. We had about 1,000 people using our rooms over that course of the 6 months. And then in 2025, we added those rooms at Lakes Region, study room, and then the meeting room. That grew to about 1,400. Now we have them at Coastal Region Library as well. You're seeing that number has almost doubled from 2024. So there's a tremendous use or tremendous need for meeting spaces in the community, and our libraries are very fortunate to be able to provide some of those spaces. We are working on adding some additional space at Homosassa. We're almost finished with that, but we've removed the computers in the lab and put them in the main part of the building. And then we're going to turn that room into another meeting space in Homosassa to give people additional places to be able to meet. But it's also having a positive effect on our programming as well, because we're no longer competing for a room to be able to host a program. When people want to use the room for their community meetings or whatever it is they'd like to hold, we have a meeting room now where people can we can do a sewing class where there might be a book club meeting at the same time, whereas before it was hard to do both of those things at once. So we're able to provide more services through direct programming as well.
Adam?
Yes.
Are those numbers duplicative? In other words, like one person could reserve the room several times during the day, or does that matter?
If they reserve it for a block of time, they usually just reserve it for a block. That counts as one reservation. But if they reserve it 3 times in a week, we set limits on how long you can reserve a room for a week or a month. We have limits. But if it is separate reservations, if you want to reserve it Monday, Tuesday, or if you want to reserve it Monday morning at 10 and then you want to come back at 5 and reserve it, that would be 2 reservations. But one continuous block of time is just 1.
All right, thank you.
Good question.
Okay. And then also, I'll just show you a couple of our programs for this year. So our top overall 5 programs for the year. So we had New Year's Eve over at Central Ridge, which is a huge event system-wide. All 5 branches hold this event, but Central Ridge just tends to have the higher attendance for a lot of our youth programming. We have a holiday celebration, was also very well attended. Heritage Night in Floral City. Homosassa's Holiday Open House drew a large crowd. And then Central Ridge, you'll see at the bottom there, is Books and Babies. That was one of our top 5 programs. The Halloween costume parade that we did there had about 71 kids attend that one. But interesting about Books and Babies over at Central Ridge is that typically reaches an audience of around 50 to 60 people per week. So that's 71 is high for that one, but it's usually in the 50s and 60s range there. So if you're ever at the Central Ridge Library on a Wednesday, you will see it is full of kids attending story time, which is a wonderful thing. But it's a great program, and all of our youth programs and story times and things are well attended. But Central Ridge just seems to reach a larger audience over there. All right, and then top 5 adult programs. So we had Homosassa. They had their Friends of the Library annual meeting. Their special guest was the sheriff, so David Vincent was there. We had a civil rights movement in Florida presentation over at Coastal Region Library. Then we have some kind of physical activity programs with Floral Cities Sit and Be Fit. And then another very popular program is the Plant Swap. Yeah. We have the Plant Swap at a number of our libraries. I think it's actually in all of our branches. But we do Plant Swap every month, and you'll see a lot of people really enjoy that one, coming in and getting to socialize and talk about different gardening and plants and exchanging different things. So a lot of fun there. All right, does anybody have any questions on kind of those numbers or things that I shared? I know y'all kind of asked some questions as I went, but if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. If not, I'll talk a little bit about our community needs assessment. And with this one, so as you all know, we've been undergoing our community needs assessment this year as a way to collect, again, more feedback and data from the community. We want to hear what people want to see in their libraries in the short term, kind of mid-range, and then long term, so the next 5 to 20 years we're looking at. We had over 2,500 people across all of our different engagements. They provided feedback for us, so that was a lot of surveys, focus groups, visual voting. We had the boards here at the last advisory board meeting, and then also through workshops that we held. So we had a lot of people come out and give us a lot of feedback. And then we held a kind of a findings workshop as one of our final pieces. There is one more event to come, and that will be presented to the Board of County Commissioners in June. So I'll get you all that date when I've got it completely firmed down, and if you want to attend that one, absolutely, it'll be worth listening to hear what our consultants kind of wrap everything up. But a couple takeaways from all of these events were things they really highlighted in our survey that the community really liked was the staffing. Staffing was a huge positive for everybody. You know, that got one of our highest ratings. Customer service, people really like the customer service that the library is delivering. Volunteers was also huge. Bob and I kind of talked a little bit about this, how our volunteers are performing not only, you know, variety of tasks, but it's the amount of hours as well, which is an incredible thing to see. Computer usage was very high compared to other communities. So we're seeing a lot of people that need computer access throughout all of our community. So we're happy to provide those things. And then people really liked the variety of programs that we offer as well. So there's, you know, thousands of programs offered every year. There's something for everybody at all times of day. So we're happy to see all of those. Through our workshop and through some of the results, it was also identified that Central Ridge is the busiest location by a wide margin. It's the busiest for just about everything that we offer, which I think going into that, staff and a lot of us already knew that Central Ridge was very, very busy. And it's only expected to get busier with projected growth. So through the workshop and through the different events, it's identified that expansion is likely needed. So to be able to meet the demand going forward, we're going to have to make some adjustments to be able to accommodate the growth in the county. So Central Ridge being the one that's overcrowded, and again, projected growth in certain areas. They highlighted a couple areas that they said they're seeing through the data that we provided, a lot of growth in the Citrus Springs area, as well as parts of Homosassa, as well as the Sugar Mill Woods area, seeing some growth there. Participants expressed in the surveys they wanted more programming, so they want more evening program, they want more after-hours programming, things like that. So we're looking at those kind of things. They want more materials, so they want more books, they want more audiobooks, they want just more availability is what they're looking for. Expanded hours is one that people are asking for. So we're looking into that a little bit. And then the piece that doesn't quite go together for me, at least how to balance this, is people want shorter wait times for things, but they also want to keep the materials for longer. So we're looking at that. You know, people are telling me the holds this are too long, but I want to keep this book for a month.
Yeah.
So once they get it, it's theirs. So we're trying to figure out ways to balance that a little bit, and that's the big challenge. There is how do we add more materials, but you know, kind of fit everything in that box. So a lot of good takeaways there, and gave us a lot to work with. And then we're also got some things in progress now that we've been working on, but the survey has kind of reinforced the things that we're looking at doing. So staff development is a big thing. It's always kind of been a big thing for us. We're looking at ways for professional development. We know we have a wonderful, talented staff. It's a way to help grow them, help keep them engaged and excited. So we're looking at more ways for staff development, professional development, collections. I just mentioned that people want more materials. So we're looking at how do we bolster our collection a little bit? Where are we putting the best use of our resources? Additional programming. It was highlighted in the survey that people want more additional cultural and literary events. So we're adding some of those or looking at how do we bring some of those events to our community. And then updating our buildings. So we're working on interior of some of our buildings. We're working on the Central Ridge branch right now. So if you go there, you'll see that we've removed the glass around the circulation desk. We're getting ready to do a shift over there to move the circulation desk around a little bit to make it more of a focal point as you enter the building. Then we're also working on some exterior ideas for outdoor spaces. Nothing very close with outdoor spaces yet, but we're having those conversations about what those might look like if we were to have something. We are redoing the garden area over at the Homosassa Library to make that a little more of a usable space. So you'll see that change hopefully by the end of this year. We're having discussions about mobile services. We're not very far with that discussion yet, but that was something that was identified that physical locations, we're never going to have enough to fit everywhere, but it may be something that we need to look at some mobile service to get out in the community a little bit more and provide more materials. So we're beginning those conversations. And then planning for future growth and expansion of service. What does that look like? Can we expand a building? Can we build a new building? Can we, what can we do to make sure that we're meeting the need for the future before it's here? Okay, questions on community needs?
I would like to say that I was impressed with the amount of work in not only the work, but the way it was presented in receiving this data. I specifically liked the visual voting board. I cannot recall what y'all called it. But anyways, where you could just go up there with a sticker and put it on there. However, I will say the stickers did not work for me. I don't know what it was, but whatever it was, they didn't work, so I had to kind of like force it on there. But I thought that was a very simple, practical, easy way to do it. And it looks like you had great response. So,
Adam, I would also like to add that this was a very impressive study and analysis of what the community wants from the library. And I would encourage everyone here to get a detailed, if you haven't received it already, to get a detailed printout of the data and take a look at it, because with 2,500 people giving their feedback, it shows us what the county does want. And I know the library is already acting on that, and I applaud you for, immediately beginning to address issues that were raised in there. And it'll show you the many, many things that the library is doing that most of us don't even have any awareness about.
I believe I did email you all a copy of that report. It was 140-something pages, so it's quite lengthy. But we did ask everybody in the community. We tried to reach out to everybody to give us feedback. We wanted as many people to provide input on what they want to see in the library, because we are going to use that data and that information to plan out the next 5 to 20 years of what our library system will offer and what it will look like. And as Terry mentioned, we have started making some of those adjustments already. I know I did a bunch of these individual groups with library staff, and after we left those and they gave me the feedback, I started immediately looking, okay, how can I make that change? How can I fix this? Some things I couldn't do anything about, like somebody told me the Floral City parking lot's on the wrong side of the building. Can't really move that. I wish I could, but I can see the issue now, but I didn't build it, and I don't know how to fix that. But other things we were able to fix, like signage not being, in the most visible places, lighting in some areas, things like that. So we're able to go back and look at adjusting some of those things immediately versus waiting to, because we knew those were issues when we saw them. So, and then my last thing for you is Canopy, unless you have anything else on community needs. But Canopy is something that we talked about at our last meeting. We switched over from the Plus Packs, which were kind of unlimited viewing for about 3,000 titles, to moving to a ticket system where people get 14 tickets and they have access to about 30,000 items now. And with that change, we haven't really noticed very much in terms of the cost going up. There's a potential for the cost to go up for us, but it's not been so bad. And we've seen already with the adjustment that we've made with this, we've seen an additional about 1,000 plays or streams through Canopy. So it's about a 44% increase by changing to the ticketed system from the the Plus Pack system. It gives people more option and variety, and people seem to be really enjoying that one, and we're happy to provide that to give people more flexibility and choice there. Okay. Any questions on anything I talked about? All right. Well, thank you all.
I have one question about something that wasn't talked about. Is I know that what do we have plans in the workings for filling Debbie's role at the library?
Yes. So
Like you're hiring 5 people, I assume?
I wish we could hire, more staff just in general. But we already have a very good staff in place that's kind of working with me to make sure that we're filling those gaps. I know when Debbie announced her retirement, we had Sarah on board, and she was kind of learning some pieces from Debbie and kind of has filled a lot of those gaps for us and is moving into some of that. But we did actually hire a replacement for Debbie's position. Her name is Natalia Richards, and she is the supervisor, or was the supervisor, over the Homosassa branch. She's now moving into the region manager position, and will be filling the branch supervisor position shortly as well. So we do have a replacement there in the region manager position.
Okay.
And you most likely will meet her at the next meeting. She wasn't able to make this one.
Understood. All right. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. So we'll move on to F2. Taylor, that's you. And Sarah, are you a part of?
I will. I'll give her a. Okay. I have to apologize. I lost my voice over the weekend, and I have been fighting for my life to get it back before today. So lots of lozenges and hot tea have been my how I've spent my weekend. But we have a lot of great things happening. I did want to give you a quick update on our digital cards. We were about 50 cards away at our last meeting from being over 1,000 digital cards, and so I'm happy to say that we are at that number. We have officially surpassed our 1,000 digital cards mark, and so we are pretty excited about that. That's a huge accomplishment, and something that we knew would be a success for us as soon as we could get our digital cards back into play. And so we just have that breakdown there for you. And then it shows kind of the breakdown of by zip code. Sometimes the little like Citrus Hills ones, we couldn't figure out exactly where that one was lining up in our other cities and areas. And so it kind of gets slid through there. So we have that little breakdown there for you. Okay, so we did 2 spring book sales in the month of March. Our friends of the library did their mega sale the 13th through the 16th, and they, for the second sale in a row, raised more than $40,000, which was phenomenal. They were overjoyed, and so it was fantastic for them. Our Homosassa friends had their sale on the 26th through the 28th, and they raised more than $11,000 at that sale. So a huge number for them as well. So we've had 2 great sets of sales that both our previous fall sales and our spring sales in the last 6 months, and so we have been absolutely overjoyed with those numbers. Our next fall sales, I'm sorry I don't have the actual days of the week there for October and November for our fall sales, but just know the Homosassa sale will be right around when Veterans Day is, and I believe the October mega sale will be, I think it's the second weekend of October, but it's in October, before all of the craziness for Halloween starts, so. I know. I will have those dates solidified and handouts for you at our June meeting so that you can hand out bookmarks to all of your friends and tell them to come shop at the sales. So as we've mentioned multiple times, this past Saturday we had our annual volunteer appreciation event for this year. And so we've just got a couple pictures here for you to kind of show the volunteers who came. We do a breakfast for them. And so it is just a great time for them to all get as many of them as possible to come and enjoy a meal together, chit chat and see many of them. You can see in the middle there is one of our actually retired staff members who has come back and started volunteering in the last year or so. And so we have had just a great time getting to celebrate them this last month. And so the very far picture to the right are 3 of our winners. So those are all volunteers at our Central Ridge branch. The young gal with the flowers, that is what our Teen Volunteer of the Year. And then the gal very much on the right side of the picture is Miss Barbara, and she was our Outstanding Volunteer of the Year for the entire system. And so if you come on a Wednesday morning to Central Ridge Library, as Adam suggested, to see story time, you will see Miss Barbara there frantically counting multiple times to try to make sure that she can count how many people come in, because she is one of our phenomenal youth volunteers. And so she is there almost every Wednesday. Occasionally she takes a vacation, and then we're all frantically counting because we're like, oh my gosh, how does Miss Barbara do this every week? But she is fantastic and was shocked to win. I got multiple reports of the weekend that she was crying. She was so surprised that she had been selected as the Volunteer of the Year for her system. And so we had 160 volunteers who attended on Saturday, and 12 of those volunteers were recognized for the hours and the time that they have spent in the last year going above and beyond for our library system. They also receive a gift, and so for anyone who was not able to attend, you also receive gifts because you volunteer your time for our libraries as well. And so you all get these really cool bags. So thank you for all of your time as well. Okay, so this past Thursday, on April the 23rd, started one of our new Libby Reads book clubs. And so the title that is currently available on Libby, yes, Katie, I see you frantically going to go find the new title, is Familia. And so that title is available with no holds and no wait lists until May 7th on Libby. And so it's just kind of right there at the front, and you're welcome to grab it if you would like. And it's got the audiobook and the regular book as well. So, as has been mentioned a few times, I was sitting there waiting. I knew that this was going to come up and I was ready for it. So we are celebrating the 250th birthday of America this year, and our library has kind of named it Stars, Stripes, and Stories. So you will see Stars, Stripes, and Stories everywhere on our calendar. Promotions are starting to go out in the branches probably in the next week or so. But I counted it up. And at the beginning of my counting, I was like, oh, there's like 41 programs. And then I recounted because I realized I missed some. There were 49 programs. And I looked at Adam and I said, we have to get to 50. We cannot just have 49 programs before the 250th birthday of America. Unbeknownst to me, I had missed one last program. And so we did actually already have 50 programs on the calendar starting in June. And so between the months of June and the first week of July, there are 2 kind of little outliers towards the end of July. There will be 50 programs for Stars, Stripes, and Stories, in addition to all of our other programming and our summer reading programs. So if you come to the library on any given day of the week, there's probably multiple programs happening at every branch. And so just a quick highlight, we have a fantastic relationship with a local group called Citrus Strings. They do concerts for us on a regular basis throughout the year. And so back in January, we approached them to say, hey, would you guys want to come in and do a musical tribute concert at some of our branches in celebration of the 250th birthday of America? And they, of course, said yes. And then we started haggling over the dates. And they are actually coming to 4 locations. And so on the right there, you'll see the flyer that has been finished and will be going out to our branches very soon. And so we have that tribute. And then as part of our summer reading program, all of our youth librarians in that week of the 4th of July, that Monday through Thursday, will be doing their program for that week will be called Star Spangled Stories.
Is this the group that was practicing at Lakes a couple weeks ago when I went
Possibly.
there?
They do also use the library for practice.
Very good.
There are a number of musical groups who use our community rooms as practice locations, which is lovely for staff because we get like a concert in the middle of the day. It's not as lovely when you're the person who has to schedule all of the groups in the calendar because they're like, guys, we want to come every week to practice. And we're like, we can't get you in every single week at the same branch. So they have been fantastic, and they will hop around the branches to find the space and the time that we have available. And so it's a beautiful relationship that we have with that group. But they do a phenomenal job. And so if you ever come into the library and you see a concert happening, chances are it is the Citrus Strings group that is performing at that time. So you are welcome to join us for any one or all 4 of the concerts. You can drive around to the county, visit every branch, and go to a concert on a different day every week. So up to you. And then, yes, Star Spangled Stories is happening as part of the summer reading program. And so that is going to be a really great addition to our summer reading lineup for this year. And so just some quick upcoming dates for you. So we will be out, last year was the first year that the City of Inverness hosted their Summer Sizzlin' event. It was a phenomenal event that actually Debbie and Sarah attended last year. They came back the next day and they said, we were bombarded by families who wanted to know about summer reading. Every single person asked what the library was doing for the summer. And so when that invite to return this year came into the inbox, I automatically knew that we were saying yes, that we were attending, especially because their event is 2 days before our kickoff event for summer reading. And so the timing was perfect. Not as perfect timing is that our kickoff event is also at the same time as the All Hazards Expo that the Sheriff's Office and the Emergency Operations Center host every year. So we will have staff attending that event as we do a lot of assistance of preparation help during the beginning of hurricane season when that starts in June. And so we will be there will be staff at a little bit of everywhere on May 30th. And so we will have our summer reading kickoff. Sarah will have more information about that in just a moment. And then in June, in May, we're jumping feet first into summer reading, but our programming begins Monday, June 1st at the Coastal Region branch, and we'll go all the way through July the 17th. So we have that one, and then Star Stripes and Stories, of course, starts June 1st. So if all you see around the library are flags and dinosaurs for 2.5 months, we're just going with it at this point, guys. Okay, we're just going with it. So that is everything I had. Did anybody have any questions? I know it's much faster than
I just have a comment. That's a lot of work and a lot of time.
There are a lot of programs. I will say, I did forget that in your coloring books that we have to hand out to you, that we will be handing those out to our kiddos over the summer. Those came to us from the Department of something at the state. Yep, okay. I was not the one who ordered them, but they're sitting in Adam's office right now waiting to be handed out. There is a packet of paper inside the front there that has a full list of the 50 programs for America 250 for you.
This is insane. I mean, I love it, but this is insane.
Yes, that has been the insanity of my
I want to point
my
something
week.
out. And this is what I'm going to be telling my 10-year-old. Reading with the Rays.
Yes.
I know we're about to get into that, but
Yes.
I know he's going to be excited for that.
Yes, so also in there, because I don't think this was on your list of things, Sarah. I mean, look, I offered for Adam to steal my thunder today, depending on what my voice was like. I have been slaving away at these lovely handouts, these beautiful color-coded handouts that you have in front of you. Our poor youth librarians are probably like, Taylor, please don't email us anymore, because I'm like, your short description is 205 characters. I needed it to be 200, and we're going to have to cut a couple letters out of something or change a word. And so what you will see in your handouts are all of the programs that are happening Monday through Friday that are listed for our summer reading program. I realized after I had done all of the spacing and all of the sizing that our special Saturday programs were not listed, and at that point I was like, I'm giving up. It's just the Monday through Friday programs and all of our beautiful promotions that Sarah will be talking about to encourage our kiddos to keep reading over the summer. So those will be going out in our branches as soon as I can get them sent off to print in the next week or so. And so those will go out, and then we will also be sending handouts to the schools, to all 11 public elementary schools plus all of our private schools, to our pre-K through fifth grade students. So it's about 10,000 handouts that we have printed to go out to every every small child to take home to their families to have them register for summer reading. So
Perfect timing.
Yes.
We just got my son. He's in pre-K. We just got his literacy. When he first started pre-K, he was at 13 percentile. We just got it back. My wife called me and said, "Hey, did you know this? He's at over 79%. He's ready. He's past kindergarten, or he's midway kindergarten level. So the reading program this summer is going to be huge for us. So I'm excited for it. I know it's busy for you guys, but good job. Like this, there's a lot here.
And that was,
there's so much here.
And this is just the overview because Sarah is now going to come up and give you the full, more slightly in-depth description of what's happening for the summer.
Let's do it.
Okay, so our summer reading theme this summer is called Unearth a Story. All of our programming this summer is going to connect reading with dinosaurs, underground, archaeology, excavation, mining, and as Taylor said, there's even a week of patriotic programming, so we're going to put Unearth a Story aside and just do a week of patriotic programming the week right before July 4th. So there is that. Also for this summer, the Reader of the Week returns. That starts after the first week of summer reading. So summer reading will go for 7 weeks, and we will have 6 Reader of the Week prizes. So we pull all of the names out of Beanstack, and there's going to be one reader from each branch that gets a prize. They get book sale bucks, and they bring those to the Friends of the Library book sales, or they can cash them in for to buy books. And they get a little bag with a color-changing cup, and like they get their picture taken and put on our. And a what? Oh, and a book light. Yes, those are super popular. We also have prizes along the way for participants. They have a treasure box where they can come in weekly. We have baskets that our local Walmarts are donating to us. So we're really excited for that. We also, like you said, have Reading with the Rays coming. They have a 24-hour reading challenge where you read 24 hours around the bases, and each base is a different prize, which I just got in. There's a pendant, there's a slap bracelet. I didn't get it yet, but there's some coupon for Suncoast. Usually they give a $25 thing to open up an account for Suncoast, but don't quote me on that. I haven't got those yet. And then the final prize at the home plate is a ticket to a baseball game. It actually comes with 2 tickets. They got a little upset a few years ago when it was just kids. They weren't bringing their parents. Just kidding. So you get 2 tickets. So one child and one parent can go. If you have 2 kids, and a family of 4 can go. It's a really great incentive, and we're thankful they can bring it back this year now that the Trop is back up and running. They had to unfortunately suspend that last year, so really excited that that's back. Let's see. So also we have a community reading goal of 600,000 minutes. Last year we hit our goal of 500,000 minutes. So we had to go bigger, right? So we're going to try for 600,000 minutes this summer. We also incentivize kids with the 1,000 Minutes Club. They get recognized if they hit 1,000 minutes. The goal is 900. So if they exceed their goal and go to 1,000, we had 98 readers in the club last year. They get a special prize. So we're excited for that. We also have a gift card to Barnes & Noble for one of those readers, because we know those are our readers who really can appreciate some books. So we're excited for that. Also, our programming this summer is going to have, so some of our titles for programming this summer are Dynamite Adventure, Archaeology Boot Camp, Diggers and Dozers, Little Fossil Finders, Tales from the Mine. So we're going to pull in a little Minecraft on that one. So we're really excited. We also have some summer programs. We have some performers coming in to visit us. We have Didgeridoo coming on June 20th. We have Atlantic Coast Theater coming on June 13th. They're going to bring the Tortoise and the Hare musical, so we're excited about that. And then Giving Tree Music will be back this summer. They do a drum circle event, which we had last summer, was really, really cool. So we're hoping to bring them back this summer. Well, we are bringing them back this summer, but we're hoping a bunch of people will be able to enjoy that this year. I'm missing something. Oh, our kickoff is on May 30th. It is from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Central Ridge. We've talked with the fire and sheriff, and although they are busy at the All Hazards Expo, they have promised me that they will bring me something fun for the kids to explore. We also are partnering with Mer Taylor. They are able to bring a mermaid to our event, so kiddos will be able to take a picture with the mermaid. That's going to be kind of cool. And then, of course, our staff supports that with crafts. Our Central Ridge Youth Librarian, Kim, does this amazing thing with bubbles. It's incredible. We have a story walk. Kids will be able to sign up for Beanstack and get ready to go for the summer. And then we also have program partners. UF IFAS Extension is coming, and 4-H of Citrus County have already arranged for some programs. I believe they're on that sheet. Those are registration because they do have to bring materials. So if that's something you're interested in, please register for that. And then at the end, we have a finale. All branches will be having a finale the week of July 20th. That's where each branch is going to host a party to celebrate the end of reading. They give little goodie bags to the kiddos. They have a slideshow that goes with all the pictures that they've taken over the summer, and they just really celebrate the reading. So we're really excited for all of these programs coming up. It's going to be very busy, and we're really excited about all the things that are coming this summer. Any questions?
Keep up the good work.
All right. I would tell everyone to bring a friend, right? Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next, we move on to old business. Seeing there's no old business, we move to new business, and that's item H1, the booked 2027 presentation. And so this is where we authorize the chair, or we don't, but we authorize the chair to withdraw, for the library staff to withdraw the amount needed for booked 2027 for the supplies, advertising, all of that. All right, Director Chang?
Sure. Thank you, Chair. Okay, so for Book 2027, we're going to host this one. Well, first of all, we have a fundraising goal. We're looking to raise $25,000 at this event. We are going to host this one at the Homosassa Public Library. And one of our committee members, as we were talking about the event, we had done the first event with Booked over at Lakes Region Library to show off the renovation there. We moved it to Coastal Region the next year to again highlight the renovation there. So we're looking at where we're going to put the next event, and our committee member very thoughtfully said, you know, this is a good opportunity to showcase and highlight all of our libraries, so let's move it to Homosassa Library. So we decided that it also fits really well with their opportunity to really highlight Homosassa Library so people can see that library, because it is a unique building for us. But it also is their, I'm going to get this wrong.
It's the 20th anniversary.
20th anniversary. Sorry, yes. The 20th anniversary of the Homosassa Public Library is going to be this upcoming year. So it's a great kind of tie-in for that as well. So we'll be definitely highlighting Homosassa. As I mentioned earlier, it's February 20th, 2027, and the time will still be that 6 to 8:30. But we're looking forward to it to being another wonderful fundraising event for our libraries to continue to build up some capacity in the U.S. Family Foundation account, so we can look at some future projects. Now we've got community needs assessment pretty much wrapped up. We're looking to see, okay, what's next on our list of renovation, expansion? What do we need to do with our library? So this plays a vital role in providing some of those funds for that. And with that, I would like to make a couple suggestions with this. One, Bob has been our chair for this event for the last couple booked. He's done a phenomenal job. We would like another, to have him as chair again this year for booked, if he's willing to accept that.
If the board wants me to, I'd be pleased to do that.
I make a motion to nominate Robert Bramlett as chair for the fundraising committee for booked.
Second.
We have a nomination, or a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
I'll abstain.
Yep, Bob has done a phenomenal job with this. You hear him at every one of our meetings and things, you know, telling everybody about the event, the bring a friend idea. I know Bob has sold probably the record number of tickets for an individual. He does a phenomenal job with this, and I'm happy to work with him again as chair. And then any of you that would like to participate and help with Booked, we're more than happy to have you also help us. The more people that help us, the better. I know some of you help on the evenings, or the evening of the event, or helping set up, things like that. We're always happy to have as much help as we can get with this. But the other piece to this is, as Justin mentioned, authorizing some funds for expenses for the event. This past year, we had requested $13,000 to be used for Booked. We did spend about just under $10,000 in expenses for Booked. I anticipate it being around that amount, probably under $10,000 again, but it doesn't hurt to have that little bit of cushion just in case something is a little bit more expensive. If we sell more tickets and we need to expense more for catering, things like that, we want to make sure that we have the funds to cover anything that we have there. In your agenda packet, you will see the most recent statement of financial position from the U.S. Family Foundation. This one is from December 2025, so it's a little bit old. We haven't received the newest one yet.
Page 14.
Thank you.
But in that account right now, there's a total of $463,000 in there. But that does not reflect what it's grown since then. But there's
6 months.
yes. So if you all would be willing, we would need a very specific motion if anybody would like to, once you've had a chance to look at that, or if you have questions. But it would be to request $13,000, authorize the chair to release $13,000 for the restricted purpose of use on the Booked fundraiser.
So moved.
Okay, and just so you have to state.
I have to state it? Okay. Oh, boy.
So tell her what she has to say, Adam.
Sure. So it's authorizing the chair to release
I authorize the chair to release
$13,000
$13,000
funding
funding
for the restricted purpose
for the purpose of
Restricted purpose.
of use on Booked fundraiser.
Used on Booked fundraiser.
Perfect.
And you second that? Okay. Any discussion? Seeing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Do we have a theme yet?
We don't have a theme yet. We're going to put our committee together shortly and then sort of discuss what we want the theme to be. I will tell you, there's a lot of inputs and ideas that people have with themes. And it's like a 50-50 split of we should have costumes, we shouldn't have costumes, we should have, there's dozens of things that kind of move around. So no theme yet, but somebody may have a theme, I'm not sure, but we're working on it.
Look forward to it.
Yes. Just took the words out of my mouth. Dinosaurs.
That'd be interesting. Especially watching the wine toss with that, but anyways.
Just put a little dino head on each one.
Yeah, I guess. All right, is that all you have for that?
That's it.
Okay.
Yep, thank you.
So now we'll move on to item I, board member updates. At this time, all board members, if you have any updates or anything you'd like to talk about or discuss with regards to the meeting of today, or anything, basically anything. All right, anyone? Yes.
I attended a class on ChatGPT at the Homosassa Library taught by staff members. It was wonderful, really well presented. I encourage people to, if you're looking to expand your tech knowledge, the library is a great place to start. Even if you think you know a lot, you'll learn more when you leave.
Anyone else?
I was able to attend the volunteer breakfast for the first time and got to meet the whole Homosassa crew and set by people that were awarded. And the putt-putt golf lady was on the other side of me. So I got to meet a lot of new volunteers, and I personally went around and thanked all of the youth that were there. It was so nice to see that we had 33 youth volunteers in our library system, and their pictures were up front. And I thank them for being the next generation in activation.
Very cool. Anyone else?
I was able to attend the morning meeting where they had all the discussion about the results of all the community input. And I was just, like I mentioned earlier, I'm just amazed at our library staff and the great job that they do. Also want to thank everyone for allowing me to put my own nomination forward this morning, but I appreciate your vote on that. Appreciate Edith and all that she's done. That's it.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Seeing there's no other board member updates, item J1. Next meeting is June the 23rd at 9 a.m. right here in this room, and we hope to see you there.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
In section 2 of our binders, section 1, under the articles
Just find
6 of meetings.
Section 2.
Yep, it would be tab 2, section 1. It's under the bylaws, June 22nd, 1999. I don't know if these are the most recent ones.
It's the one I have, so.
Okay. All right. So in section 1, it says the library board shall meet no less than once each month.
Right. I've raised that discussion, and actually, I raised that with Mr. Head, and he mentioned that there were some later bylaws to this. He was going to try to get that to us. I don't know if you can look through that.
I can verify that, yes, but I
Yes.
know it was changed to
Yeah.
In the
every month,
bylaws.
but I will verify those and I'll get those to you.
Yeah, going back to what we had previously asked for an update on the binder and then also the policies. I just want to make sure that we are meeting, accurately per what's here. Also to that, I know that mornings can be difficult sometimes. I'm going to make sure I'm here regardless if I can, but it would be, I know we have one meeting, I believe it's our August meeting. That's going to be in the afternoon. I would like to voice that I would like to see more of those. And yeah, it's a little bit
During the
easier
year,
with
the following.
parents with young children. So, yes.
To that, I agree. It backed up into that discussion. The point we had made was August, we would kind of see how it worked and then go from there. And then come next go around, they make it more available if it deems necessary.
I agree. So I just want to keep that I know we're doing that one. I agree.
Yes.
I'm just saying I want to keep that in the forefront that I think that would, and if we are supposed to be having them at least once a month, that will definitely become pivotal. So if we can get the clarification on the bylaws.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
I think the problem is these are the latest bylaws without the amendments, if that makes sense. So I think that is where we have to get it. But talking about redoing the whole binder, bringing an updated binder to us, all of that would be in there, I would hope.
Yes, we will definitely update the binders and we'll get all that, all the updated information in there for you.
Okay?
Yeah, because I would say those changed because of COVID, possibly. If there was an amendment, possibly. I don't know, but I just want to make sure that we're following the correct stuff. So thank you.
That change predates me serving on this board.
Okay,
I'm not
so
sure.
even further back. Gotcha. Thank you.
Another thing with the meetings too is I would like it to see it not always fall the same, like the same months. If we're doing every other month, like the following year, skip to the month that we didn't, because some of the times we're not close enough to. Like our next meeting is in June, and June is the middle of the summer. So if we had a meeting in May instead of in June, like the following year, so make it, so does that make sense? So that we skip months, so it's not always a June meeting, which we're school teachers, we're not going to be here in June. So we're always going to miss that meeting, so that would be nice.
And that's discussion we can make at that time.
Yeah.
I would say it probably has to do with a little bit of the fact that our first meeting as a board starts in February, and so then it's April, and then so on, and that's why they do it. It's really up to us as a board collectively to determine that, and then also based upon availability in this room. So, but that is something that we need to keep right here when we come back around and we're making the adjustments to the meetings. And we also have, and I would say this, we also have within our bylaws the availability to call a special meeting if we deem necessary. I would say that the challenges of that are also this room available and so on. So those are all always things to keep in mind that would require, of course, the majority of the board to agree with that. But that's all there too as well. Okay?
Would it make sense to do this as an agenda item for next meeting if we do get our updated binders by then? Is that enough time for you?
Yes.
Okay, okay, so I'll email you. I'll put this on as an agenda item. That way we can make sure we follow up on it and it's a part of the agenda.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Good? All right. J1, June 23rd, 9 a.m. right here in this room. That's where we'll meet. Do I have any motions to adjourn?
I motion that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
All right. Quick. All right. So we got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none opposed, the motion carries.
August.
How's it going?